Hi, my name is Greg Palsson. I have a studio in the Wave called the Quill and Feather Studio. My studio number is 12, and I am particularly interested in carving realistic birds. I've always been interested in birds, particularly even as a child. I used to collect the blue ribbon cards from coffee and go down the street and collect them all. And I've had a really consuming interest in songbirds and birds of prey. Living where I do here in Geyser, Manitoba, I have great opportunities to observe birds in their natural setting, and also at Heckle Island, where I have a summer residence. I spent a lot of time down at the marsh observing ducks, and I started carving in 1983, inspired by a carving that I'd seen a friend do. Rather rough carving, but it inspired me to go and take some lessons. So he and I decided we would take lessons in Winnipeg, and went to St. Boniface and took a 6-week course just on the fundamentals of the basics of carving. And we kind of inspired each other and worked together. Our wives became carving widows, as some might become golf widows, but our wives became carving widows as we shared and critiqued each other's work for many years. Entering competitions became an interesting part of our development as well. I've been very fortunate, and most of my birds entered in the shows would win something or other, a ribbon of one kind or another. And more than once I've won the People's Choice Award at these competitions. I started carving in 1983, and when I learned to carve, I learned to carve with a knife. It was some carvers were using rotary tools, but I was wanting to be a purist, so I thought I'd just stick with the knife. And so I learned how to carve with a knife, and one of my first great big projects was carving a Canada goose, and that was about my 3rd year into carving. Geese at that point were still popular, and now they're become a little less popular. However, I carved this goose over the summer at Heckle Island with an axe, a camping axe, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and then did all the finishing of the carving with my carving knife. And I came back to Arborg, back to my Geyser residence here in the fall, and completed the carving around Christmas. So it was a lot of work, a lot of time, but I was rewarded by that because I entered the Bird in the Prairie Canada competition and won the People's Choice Award for it. The judges at the competition told me that if I had entered this particular Canada goose in the world competition, I probably would have won a ribbon or been recognized for it. And the other thing that's happened to me in the course of my carving is that a number of years ago I was invited to join a carving competition, special carving competition for owls, and I've always loved carving owls. So I had an owl that I had already carved. It was a short-eared owl, quite full-size, fairly large short-eared owl, and I had put a lot of time into it, creating a lot of bumping of the feathers and just tried to do as much as I could to make it as realistic as I could. And I entered it in the competition. There were 143 owls in that competition, and I got second. So I was really pleased. I was totally surprised because there's a lot of excellent carvers around, and to be in sort of early stages of my carving to win that second prize, it was a real moment in my life and inspired me. So I'm Greg Palsson. I operate the studio here in Geyser called the Quill and Feather Studio, studio number 12. Looking forward to seeing you.